welcome to the Dominate Health podcast. And we do have to dominate. It's an awful world out there. There are no solutions outside of chiropractic and chiropractic principles and natural health care. So there's no choice. We must dominate. We must not participate. And I'm with a great friend, phenomenal chiropractor, Dr. Allie. We call her Triple A. Welcome, Dr. Allie.
Thank you, Ben. So much fun to be here.
And Triple A, by the way, is awesome, amazing Allie. And I'll start off with a story where I came up with that. And it's a story of courage, of incredible courage. We were at a camp, and if you've ever been through any of those sort of camp processes that are designed to scare you and grow you as a human being, there was this pole we had to climb up, and you had to go stand up on. Of course, you're perfectly safe. You're all bound, and you've got all this safety gear on. But your brain doesn't know that. So Dr. Allie goes to the top of the pole and just gets stuck there. She can't go up any further, can't come down. And I don't know, it seemed like hours. It was probably longer to you, maybe 20, 30 minutes. And eventually you went up and you came down and it all worked out. And the reason I start there is because in order to be able to push yourself to that level of courage and be willing to break through, there has to be a big why. So what is it, Dr. Allie, that drives you? Because you're always getting better and better and better and better. What's your why?
My children is my why. So when I was on the top of that pole, Todd Royce came up. Remember that? And he gave me his hand. And I looked at you. You said, yeah, I could take his hand. And he said to me, one day you're going to have children and you're going to be able to tell them this story where you didn't give up and you persevered and then you let someone help you through. And then I grabbed his hand and I was able to do it. So
now, let me ask you a question. I've always wondered, so if you did that today, would you be able to crush that pole now?
No. I don't know. Honestly, it's just, I get really scared of being high up. I'd have to just do the same thing, like hang on, get used to the area, get uncomfortable and then get used to where I am and then go a little higher and then breathe and get used to where I am and then get higher and get used to where I am. Right?
Sounds a lot like life, which is what the pole is supposed to obviously represent.
Exactly.
And that really for you, again, what I love about you is it's such an incredible metaphor for life. You are courageous. And the idea of courage is not that we're unafraid, but that we're afraid and we do it anyways. And that certainly describes you really well. So we know it's your children, but obviously you continue to be so driven. You're always willing to get into this really uncomfortable zone, whether it's on top of a pole or starting really new businesses, things that you've never done before. Mm-hmm. A lot of activity, stuff, businesses, ways of helping people and saving the world that so many people would be afraid to jump into, but you've done it anyways. So what's some of the driving forces behind that? So you've got so many things. We'll get into that next, all the what you have going on, but what keeps pushing you?
I just want to make a difference and I want to help people and that's all I want. I just want to help people. It's not more complicated than that.
No, that's good.
I don't know.
But a lot of people would say it
drives me.
Yeah, a lot of people would say they have kids and want to help people, yet they're not doing all the things you're doing. So you don't just say you're going to help people or want to help people, you're helping people. And so what are these things? Because not only are you helping people in a lot of different ways, but they're fun. Whenever I think of you, I think of adventure and I think of freedom. What are some of the things that you have going on?
Well, I have my office, obviously my chiropractic office. I just finished my 10th year of homeschooling. And now my younger son is in high school. I do homeschool and then I send him to all boys private Catholic high school. So he just started. So that was I did 10 years of that. And my husband and I opened up a health food store to go along with my office because I want to teach people how to eat. And they didn't have anywhere to get the raw milk and the grass fed and all that. So we opened up a health food store, like attached to my office. And we just separated them. So the health food store is like on its own now. And we're going to open another one probably in a year, like local grass-fed meat, the local natural meats. Like we're the biggest distributor of raw dairy now in the state. And I have a farm. And I started growing my farm about 10 years ago because I wanted my kids to have an adventurous life. I wanted to create this magical childhood for them. Like I grew up in the 70s, right? Like you. It was pretty amazing. And I don't like the culture. So I'm not engaging in it. So I said, okay, I'm going to homeschool and we're going to get chickens. And then we got goats and then we got ducks and then we got turkeys and then we got quail and we just keep growing it. And they go outside and get eggs and for their breakfast. And when their friends come over, they don't want to play video games. They want to run around outside and play with the animals. So I just wanted that for them. And so I just created it. And it's really fun. And I milk my goats twice a day now. And my family, my boys only drink raw goat milk now. That's all they drink. And it's just fun.
When usually we're doing a coaching call, there's usually animals that are also participating. I usually hear birds and other animals in the background there. And then also with your clinic. So that's not the only sort of adventure that you're experiencing and the poles you're willing to climb the top of to get into new things. Your clinic has a lot of different verticals, things that you're passionate about that you offer in there as well.
Yeah. So I do massage and I have a farm-fed sauna. I'm about to get trained on how to use laser to reverse Lyme. So I haven't even told you about that. I'm starting to get trained as a doctor that does that. And I called him. I said, I want to do that. Will you train me? And he said, yeah, I was actually thinking about scaling down and finding someone. So he uses laser and he says he gets 100% reversal of Lyme. So I'm going to start doing that to add that to my practice.
Wow.
What else do I do?
You do some other things there too. You bring people, there's like yoga and.
Oh, right. Yeah. We do yoga. We have red light. We have all these we're always bringing someone in and I do workshops and.
Yes. I want you to comment on something. So a lot of chiropractors burn out.
Okay.
And, it's not just only chiropractors. Obviously, anybody in a small business or a professional accountant, a medical doctor, a dentist, they burn out. But you're always excited. You're always positive. You're really one of the most positive people I know. If somebody said, make a list of the top 5 most positive people, you'd be vying for number 1. And yet you've got all these things going on. And so a lot of that, what I've taught over the years is if you stay creative, if there are things you're passionate about in your own life, figure out ways to bring that to other people, like you said, to help other people. And also the other piece, and you said it a second ago, you alluded to it, when the culture's not working out for you, this is an old saying, if the culture's not working out for you, create your own. And you mentioned that a moment ago. You're not happy with the available food, how they teach in schools, what your community and your environment were like, so you created your own community. So speak to that a little bit, because there's this energy to AAA, Dr. Allie. There's a positivity that's contagious, and I've known you a long time, and relentless positivity. So that would be so amazing for other people to hear where that's coming from.
Okay. So I've been a chiropractor for 30 years. So it's been a long time. And the number one thing that I take care of myself. All my answers are simple. Like when I created my schedule, like the first thing I put when I'm managing my time, like that's the number one thing is managing my time. So when I create my schedule, the first thing I put in my schedule is when I exercise. That's the first thing I put in. And I don't like to exercise at 5 a.m. So I don't, right? I don't like squeezing exercise in.
That's heresy.
I know. I don't like squeezing it in. I don't like squeezing it in around my schedule. My schedule, okay, this is when I exercise. All right, this is when I sleep. And then everything else follows from there. And then when do I see patients? When am I going to homeschool? But I don't miss exercise. That's one of the biggest things is I just take care of myself. I fast 3 days a week for 24 hours and I intermittent fast the other days. And that's in my schedule. That's just what I do. And I've been doing it I've been fasting like that for 10 years. I've been exercising like this for 40 years on a routine. And taking care of myself allows me to have all this endurance and to do all these things because I don't get burnt out. I don't really take a lot of vacations either when you have a farm. Like, hey, can you come over and milk my goats? Like, not my husband can't even milk my goats. So I just take care of myself. I just do. Here's what I do. People say, how do you do that? I was like, well, I follow all of my own advice is what I do. If I want someone eating like this, I'm going to eat like that. If I'm trying to tell someone like you got to exercise, you got to drink enough water, you got to sleep, that's what I do. I take care of myself and then keeps me happy. And
Yeah, I'm not sure where you would go on a vacation. You're on a continual adventure. So
right,
I'm not sure where is better than your own backyard like you're sitting in right now.
right, nothing
And
is
you
better.
alluded to this a second ago too. So the thing that every mom on planet Earth or every busy chiropractor would wonder is you homeschool the kids, you have all these businesses, you have a farm and all these animals you're taking care of. How in the world are you doing that? Like, how exactly do you manage your time? We understand you make sure you work out, but how do we get all of this in one 24-hour period?
So you have to have like routines. Like you set up really great systems for everything. So everything that I add something and then I create a system for it. And then when that's running smoothly, I add something else and then I create a system for it. So in the morning, with my systems that I have, for half an hour in the morning, I take care of all my animals and even milk the goats. And then it's a half an hour at night, taking care of all of my, and they're like taken care of well. I mean, these animals get, you know, all of it, like holistic everything and clean water, everything. So it's a half an hour in the morning, half an hour at night for the farm. And that includes getting half a gallon of milk a day for my goats.
So
And
no
it's the same
excuses.
thing.
The time is
Yeah.
there if you're using it well.
Right. Like, what else would I do in the morning? Like, look at my email. Like, instead I'm outside doing my thing. And it's not that long. Once you have those systems in place, just create these systems.
Yeah, when is your TikTok time? I didn't hear
Yeah,
when
I
when
don't have
when are you
that.
scrolling through
Yeah.
Facebook videos and watching
Yeah.
reels?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's what you end up doing when you're bored, I think.
Yeah.
When you're bored, then that's what you end up doing. But if
And
you
it,
have
and,
these
and and it's no cure for boredom. You end up just continuously bored.
Oh yeah, no, it's not a cure for boredom. It's just, well, I have nothing else to do right now. It's like, well, I have to go like make sure my quail have mealworms and I have to, and you're outside when it's rainy and cold and snowy and hot. And it's invigorating to like have that. And it's just the best life. And the boys love it. My boys love it. That's what they say
That,
they want to do when they get older and have a family. So that's
that's amazing.
I was hoping.
Yeah, so when you and I are recently connected, and we I was coaching you for a period there over the last year. It was to get into another thing. We haven't even discussed your other program, and the reason I was excited about even talking about it and then actually creating the program with you is you clearly are a great life leader. So the average person out there has dreams that are unfulfilled, has potential they've not reached, have thoughts and ideas they've not had the courage to attack. They've had the poles they're not willing to go climb up. And so as a result, they are burnt out, tired, and feeling unsatisfied with life. So then we came up with a life coaching program. So that's another business you started. And I
Oh.
know that's been going really well. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I figured, well, I knew I was going to be done homeschooling and going to have all this free time. And so I was like, what do I want to do? Like, I want to help people find their dreams, like live their dreams. Like, what is that? It's different for everybody. And that's why I contacted you. And so I do like health coaching for people. Like, I'll have a lot of patients that get on calls with me and talk about their health. And I do life coaching. I didn't realize that people had such a hard time figuring out how to do it, like how to live their life. And I didn't realize people were so burnt out and like till I started talking to you about it. And it's no way to live. Life is short. I just had a baby and now he's a senior in high school. I mean, it didn't
Yeah.
go fast, but when you're on the other end of it, you're like, wow, like people need to enjoy their lives more and do what they want to do rather than just getting caught up in the in like the rat race, right? They just get caught up and then they don't know where the time went and they didn't do what they wanted. And it's just, it's sad. I just want to help more people find out what they really want and then help them get it.
So powerful. So I'm going to, for one last question, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here as a life coach.
Okay.
So when I was getting all my life coaching certifications, they would give you these example people. So they would have you go through, Bob comes to you. In fact, what's interesting is one of the examples in the major textbook of life coaching, the examples of a burnt out chiropractor, which is, I thought was pretty interesting because certainly a commonplace thing. And so this chiropractor comes to you, and again, it could be anybody, and they say, I'm stuck. So I don't like my life. I'm burnt out, not happy where things are going, but I'm stuck. There's nothing that I can do. So for anybody burnt out or who feels stuck today, so AAA, the master life coach, what would you say to them as we end our podcast today?
I just have to find out what they want. Like I want more specific, like where are you stuck and describe stuck. Like what does that mean? And what part of your life are you stuck? And then what is it that you want? Like where do you want to get to? It's
That's
not just
good.
there's no right, there's no like real like do this, this, and this. It's like who is this person? What is their view of what's happening to their life? And then what is it that they want? And let's help them figure out what they want. Sometimes you don't even know what you want, right? That's like the number one thing. You don't even know what you want. And that's why you feel stuck. You're not happy, but you don't know why. And you don't know what you want. And you can't figure out what you want because you're too busy to even think about what you want to do. Or you just think you can't do it. It's like, oh, I can't homeschool if I have an office. Like, yeah, you can. Oh, I can't do it. You can do all those things. And so just figure out what it is that they want. Help people figure out what they want and then then formulate a plan to go get it.
And just like you said about food, where you're teaching people to eat what you're eating, you're also teaching people to live like you're living, which is free, courageously chasing down what you want. And again, not because you're not afraid or worried about all the outcomes and challenges, but because you have the courage to do it. So we're really glad you came off that pole for both your kids and the rest of us. You're a great model for all of society. And I really appreciate your natural joy and your freedom and the fact that you're teaching the rest of us how to live the same way.
Thank you, Dr. Ben.
Well, bless you, everybody. Remember, we've got to dominate. We can't just participate. Remember who you are.